Hey everybody, I wanted to kind of go through, this one isn't unfortunately a update or a weekly news, but I did really want to kind of go through some of the stuff that I've been doing for my new game, which I think right now is going to be called Quest for the Lost Pixel. So I want to kind of give you guys updates on this. I will be definitely doing an update video on you guys this weekend for sure, but this is going to just be a quick short video on what I've got going on so far for this awesome new roguelike game that I'm working on now. So for the most part, what's going to be going on is you're going to take your hero through all these different dungeon tiles. And the dungeon tiles are pretty much, I think, if you guys remember some of the stuff, is you're going to be going up floors and down floor, or pretty much down floors. And the main goal is to get to the 10th floor, find the lost pixel, and win the game. Each floor, it gets progressively harder. So the goal of the game is you want to try to collect as many really cool items as you can. Things like bread or maybe some different items that'll buff your character. You also want to collect some weapons. So weapons on the first floor will look like the broadsword or the club or the dagger, the darts, the flail, the longbow. So those things in mind, you want to kind of balance your character out, what's best for your hero. Now I've got the very first three characters that you can choose from in the game. So the first one you can choose from is the fighter, and the fighter is a male human. These are its stats. These first three stats are really mainly used for, at least the strength, dexterity, and intelligence parts of them are mainly used for the events that will happen while you're in the dungeon and exploring new rooms. But you're going to want to use these to also combat. So you're going to choose which one of these three is best for your character. So obviously the fighter would be stronger with strength. And then you have AC, which is your armor class. I'll get into that in another video. And the speed. How many spaces can you move at a time? So the fighter is a mediocre average kind of mover, so he moves 4 spaces at a time. It also tells you how many cards will be in your hand, so you can have 4 cards in your hand. That's also your life. So as soon as your deck is completely gone, even the cards in your hand. So once you're completely out of cards, you lose the game. And you got to start all over, just like a roguelike. It's permadeath. You're proficient with weapons and armors if you're the fighter. Another thing I forgot to mention, you're also melee, which will take in effect and some other stuff. And then it tells you what you have to have in your starting deck. So 5 skills, 5 weapons, 4 armor cards, and then 1 item card. So that's the fighter. The next one is the huntress. I want to put some females in this game for all you girls out there. Huntress is pretty cool. She's a female elf. She is a ranged class. And then her stats, again, she's going to be more proficient in the dexterity region. Hand size is 5. And then weapons and armors, of course, what we're proficient with. And then skills, you get 5 of those, 5 weapons, 1 armor, and then 4 items. So she's pretty good with items. And then the wizard. So you get a male gnome. So he's pretty cool, obviously good with the intelligence. The AC is 8, which isn't too bad. And then speed, he's pretty slow moving. I mean, he's a small guy, got little feet, so he can only move 3 spaces at a time. Hand size is 6, which means he can take a pretty heavy hit. And he can lose a lot of cards at once during a turn. So that's the one problem with the wizard. He's not very bulky. But he's proficient with spells, which is great. And then you got different skills. You get your 5 skills, and then 3 items, and then 7 spells, which is awesome. And there's going to be some really cool spells. So for the most part, I think I'm done with almost all the level 1 stuff. I do want to add a few more things, but for a good chunk of it. So, for example, we have the armor here. So we have animal skin, and then we have leather armor. We have the leather cap and a round shield. These are different things you'll find within the dungeon. And then I'll kind of go through these dungeon tiles really quickly. So, of course, you got the dungeon tiles. Any tile that you flip over, every single time you flip a tile over, is going to be at random, just like a roguelike. And then anytime you flip one over with a question mark, that's an event. So you'll see some events here that I'll show you in a little bit. But you'll have to try to successfully beat that event, or you're going to take the consequences for not defeating the events, which I'll show you here. But you traverse your hero through here, just like the last video that I showed you. And you got all sorts of different things happening. You got potions, which will add random effects, good and bad, or bad. And then you get different items. These items will be one of those weapons, items, armors, even spells will all be mixed in there. And you get to choose. Water kind of slows your hero down. And then you'll have lava, which hurts your hero. And you got all sorts of different events. Another thing that I'm going to add in here is some really awesome weapons and really awesome armor and some really awesome items and spells. And those will be called artifacts. And artifacts are like really awesome, like really epic weapons and items that you're going to want to put on your characters for sure. So for example, these are going to be the red chest. There's only 2 dungeon tiles that will have an artifact. Other ways you can get artifacts are through monsters. And for example, so some of the monsters, the basic monsters, we have bats. And all these have different ways of killing them. So you have to roll a d20, which is just a 20-sided die. And if you get a 10 or higher, you could then attempt to try to attack the floating eye. And then the floating eye has 6 life. So you need to roll a 6 or higher. So if I was using the fighter, I can roll my d10, and I can roll to see if I get that 6 or higher. Or I can add a weapon, which will give me, we'll say the broadsword, I think gives me 1 plus 4. So that means, or 1d4. So that means I can roll a 4-sided die and a 10-sided die with a possible of 14 to just up the chances I'm beating this. So if I can beat this, then the floating eye dies. If I can't beat it, then he begins to attack, and the attacks all come down here. So he's got an ability and he's got an attack. So his attack would be 1d4 minus 1. So he can only do most to me is 3 damage, or he can just completely miss me. So anyways, we got the giant beetle, the fly, or the giant fly is cool. We got the imp. A lot of kobolds in the first floor. So the first floor is going to have a lot of like different kobolds and I believe different skeletons. We got a myconid, we have rats. We got those skeletons here. We got all different kinds. We've got the the melee, and then we've got some ranged. We got a couple different slimes. We got the snake, of course, and then here is what I'm calling the epic heroes, or epic monsters rather. So these are elite heroes. I don't remember, or elite monsters. Man, these are called the elite monsters. So these monsters right here, they're going to be highlighted in yellow. They're going to be a lot stronger than just your typical monsters that are on that floor. But if you beat them, your hero defeats this, or if the hero defeats the monster, draw 1 random artifact card and place it into your hand. So you can really have some really cool loot just defeating these monsters, but it could take a little bit of work. And then you have a zombie. So those are the different monsters that you'll encounter so far in the first floor. Next, we have the events, as I promised. The events can be like an ambush where you just draw 1 monster card and you have to try to beat it as soon as you step into the dungeon floor. And then you got beer traps, which if you roll your dexterity, you have to get a 7 or higher to beat that. And everybody's got dexterity, but like I said, the fighter probably won't do so well in this instance because he's stronger in strength. But you can attempt it. You can try it and give it a shot. You got fire traps. You have life pool, which is really cool. It can kind of boost up your health. Locked doors, mana pools, a net trap, which will make you lose your turn. All sorts of different stuff in here, which is really fun. Fun to see all these different things, and this will be all inside of an event deck. And then lastly, we've got some spells. So we got the tech trap, which will help you with different trap cards that'll come up through the events. We got lesser heal, which is a level 1 card. A poison sting, which is a good level 1, and then stone skin, which is actually pretty good as well. And it gives you 1d4 defense against any kind of damage a monster may do to you, which is pretty good. Besides that, that's pretty much it for this. Like I said, it's fairly quick. Some of the skills that you'll see, and this is in the basic deck here, so when you'll have a completely separate deck for your basic deck, and it'll have a lot of multiples for it, and it's just used to build your deck, and there'll be more cards. There will be more cards for sure, but it's just for building your starting deck to begin the roguelike adventure, if you will, for the quest for the Lost Pixel. So we got some animal skin, which you've seen. A lot of these different things you've already seen, but some of the skills, like this one right here. So this one's only for the huntress. So she has far sight. It's a skill type. So what, or its skill type is, which pretty much means when can you use this, and it's during the explore phase. So the explore phase, you can move around. So you may look at any monster in the room prior to any combat, then discard this card. So you can kind of see what the monster is going to be. You won't know until you typically fight it, but you can spend that skill card to see what the monster may be. Or quick slash, you get 1d6 during a combat check, which is pretty good. And then recharge, you can recharge some spells that you may have discarded when you use them for the wizard. And I'm thinking about adding some more skills. Obviously, you have to start off with 5, so I might as well add a few more. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions on this at all, or if you guys want to throw in any ideas, I mean, I'm definitely up for anything. If you guys want to give me any ideas or comments or concerns, definitely let me know. And, post them down in the comments area down below this amazing video. Other than that, like I said, I will be posting some kind of update video on you guys this weekend for sure. And that's pretty much all I have. So you guys have a great rest of your Friday. Thanks for watching.